Yes or no, they're not there, basically.
When we started 3 years ago, it certainly has moved. I mean, there has been a paradigm shift from when we started 3 years ago. I remember when we started, and people used to say, "Oh, are you sure anybody is really ready to listen to this?" It's clear that people are ready to listen. It's clear that many organizations are following the lead of IOCs and other international companies, because this is you learn from what they've done. I always like to say that, you know, CSR is the religion of corporates, and corporates, you know, whichever type of corporates we're talking about, is obedience is better than sacrifice. If you do not obey, you know, you will deal with the consequences of your actions. And as Chiweta has said, companies have really moved. You know, it was a lot of philanthropic given. Philanthropy plays a large role in CSR.
That's what I want to ask, because most times people don't even understand what CSR should be.
Yes.
A lot of people think, oh, there's this promo, we're going to win a car. Is that CSR?
That's
Definitely
exactly. So what is it? What should you be looking out for? Not necessarily, what are these things that will constitute like a...
CSR is behaving, it's a holistic strategy towards responsible behavior, right? It's a holistic strategy. So it's the way that you procure suppliers, for instance. You know, it's the way that you address people, profit, planet, basically, positively. And you have to consciously adopt that strategy from the top level. It's not something that a CSR manager would drive. It's not what the marketing team will drive to promote the product for the now. It's a longer term goal, basically. So you have, you know, you can't say that I'm doing CSR when I'm giving out freebies and you're avoiding your taxes, or you know you're not paying your staff in time. These are the people who are you're not treating them well, and they're in-house. I recently went for, I've said this before, but I like to say it again. I was moderating a setting panel, and there was this telecoms person talking about, oh, we give out this, we give out that, oh, we give out, and I'm like, and I used that line, or I dumped it for about 4 months. Nobody asked me anything. I had to start using it again because the other telephone line I switched to was no better. Now, we're being treated poorly, but you're saying you're giving so-and-so, you're buying automobiles, or you're buying different things for people. So that is corporate giving. That is not CSR. As a responsible company, you would address positive behavior across all tiers. So I'm your customer, you treat me well, whether or not I have a voice, or whether you think I have a voice or not, whether or not the government compels you to, whether or not your association compels you to, you know what is right. And that also, if you notice, in many of the European countries, you have family businesses that have been around for 700 years or more, because they tend to behave better, right? So the business by default lasts longer. Unlike here where you're thinking of sharp money, like now, you know, grab and run. We shouldn't adopt that attitude. We should adopt a positive outlook towards business. So yes, you're making profit, but yes, you're also being positive.
Is CSR an actionable sort of cause? Is this something that you can say, okay, this company isn't doing anything and I want to take them to court? Is this something that's actionable in court?
Well, that topic has been debated for years. I mean, we had an interview a couple of days ago, and then we asked that question, like, do you think CSR should be made mandatory, for example? And then we have different views, like everyone making these views, exactly. I don't feel that the word is mandatory. I think it's something that's a given. You should be responsible, because at the end of the day, if you're not responsible, it will come back to haunt you. You know, you would obviously suffer a loss, you know, but then if you think long term and you are sustainable and you practice, you know, you go through a holistic CSR process, in the long run, you will see that you're making profit. So
yeah, because it's hard to say this is the one thing that, if there's an aspect, it's just like taking a service provider to court for bad service. It's just an aspect. So CSR really is a little bit of everything. So what are you actually, it could be you're taking them to court for one thing or for another thing. So yes, I'm sure organizations have been taken to court for CSR related issues without it being called CSR, because a lot of people don't actually understand the concept of the, you know, the wider nature of CSR.
Your seminar that's coming up now seems to be with a sector that's humongous, with the sort of companies that are there. Billionaire profits over the years and all of that. how's the relationship going to work with? They have a lot of, some of them do have a reputation in parts of Nigeria for not doing anything for their communities and all of that. How do you tackle them when you meet them?
The thing is, I think this was, I mean, for the bigger companies,
Yes.
I think this is sort of in the past.
Okay.
They have learned to behave better. They have had no choice but to learn to behave better. And then again, they have to deal with these international organizations that we initially mentioned, like the IFC, which actually mandates them to behave in a certain way.
Yeah.
And then they have learned that to get licensed to operate in any host community, they have to behave well. So many of them are laying down appropriate policies. I mean, there's argument that in terms of community development, they're still not...
lagging behind?
They're still not bringing out enough money. But in terms of putting the appropriate structures in place, they are. I think they are. They're on the right path. They're not there yet, but they're on the right path. I mean, we work with some of them on an individual basis. So this I can say. I mean, somebody asked me recently, oh, if they're doing all of these things, how come we don't know about it? I said, these people have messed up in the past. Because they're trying to do things that they're supposed to have done ages ago. Do you think that they should go on radio to start shouting?
Yeah.
Would you shout them down? Would you shout them down? So yeah,
I would.
you understand? I will too. So they're trying to remedy all of their past bad behavior. But for the local companies, we still have some very questionable
behavior,
especially for the one-man businesses who don't have to,
which is like the norm here.
Yes, you know, who don't have to report to any,
board or whatever.
Yes, it's a problem. It's a problem, and that's something that if you're not that person, it's just like the Mo Ibrahim Prize. If you're not a head of state who is a reasonable person from the who just wants to do the right thing, you will not be tempted by the prize. You'll not be tempted to win the prize because you've amassed 100 times more than the prize would give you, right? They say they'll give you 5 million over 10 years, which is $500,000 every year. What do you think of 500,000 for some of these heads of state? So that's quite the case with the local companies. If you're that kind of person who really wants to organically grow your business, to be around for a longer time, to be positively impactful, to employ more people, then you'll do the right thing. But if you're not, there really isn't any regulatory body driving it as it should be. And that's what we're hoping will address. I mean, that's why we have Dr. Obieze Kwesili coming this time around, because she has proven herself to be a person of good repute, right? So we want her to... and she was once Minister of Mines.
Yes,
still.
she was.
Right. She was on, and then she's worked with the World Bank. Right now, she's with the Open Society.
Institute,
and so she's that person who would unequivocally give you her view on the way things should best be addressed. Yeah. And we always have a post-event report, which is accessible on our website, which we send it out in hard copies to those who pretended like they didn't hear about it, or those who wanted to be there but couldn't be there. So it's, our seminar is different. It's going to be, we're involving a lot of tech to it. We're a younger type of organization, so we're using social media and other technology to promote it. So it's not just the average seminar, I just talk and go.
They had reached out to you actually to be a social media actor.
Okay.
And we don't know. What did you say?
I don't remember.
On the spot.
It wasn't me.
I think we'll get back to you.
But you talked about, you mentioned something about social media and trying to be young and all of that. What is in this for young people in this seminar?
We want it to be collective. We just don't want veterans or professionals within the sector. We want people that are also interested in the sector but are not there yet. Mm-hmm. E.g. young people, people that are still in schools, people that are in community, exactly,
that wouldn't otherwise have a voice.
Mm-hmm, exactly, and then we know that they are pretty active on social media. So on this day, we are going to have interactive questions that will be streaming live via Twitter, and then questions will be asked to the panel or the speakers, and then they will be able to answer. So this is a way of engaging people that won't particularly be there or don't have, that are young as well.
Yeah. And what am I going to, if a 22-year-old walks in there and is not hoping to be bored stiff by all of this policy talk, what is he supposed to get out of it?
He won't be bored stiff. A 22-year-old who works into that room knows what he's walking into.
Exactly.
It's clear what it's about. He wants to discuss serious business that would impact his generation and